Good evening, everyone. Today is October 29th, 2020. You are watching YTB, York United Ministries Thursday broadcasting. I'm Andrew. As we all know, that hearing from a congregation member is very important for us to be a faith community. It's not just to hear a new voice, but to have a sense of community as all of our voices are represented. Tonight, Muriel Cober, one of the active book club members at York Pines United Church, I invited. She'll share her story, her church life and activities. Muriel Cober is relatively new to York Pines United Church. However, she has shared her life, thoughts, faith, and insights with the long-term members. She is organizing and facilitating the book club very well as her dedicated, faithful life. Now, here is her story.
My name is Muriel Cober. I feel eternally grateful to live in the beautiful countryside of King Township. I'm married to Tom. We have 4 children and 4 young grandchildren. I'm a retired elementary teacher. I'm a 7th or 8th generation Canadian. My ancestors were pioneer farmers, arriving in Canada in the early 1800s. By heritage, I'm a little bit Irish and Scottish, Celtic Breton, Anglo-Saxon, Norman, and Viking. All steeped in the Christian Protestant and rural farming traditions. I've been affiliated with York Pines for over 12 years. I've always been drawn to the ancient stories of the Bible and the music inspired by the stories and the poetry. Obviously, when a library of books survives thousands of years, there's something important to be mined there, or at least paid attention to. My hobbies have changed over the years, but I've always hiked. I find walking provides me with time to reflect, to stop, clear my head, and get fit for life's challenges, and the challenges always come. Since retirement, with a small group of friends, I have explored many of the trails in our local area and Toronto. Yes, Toronto has amazing ravine and waterfront trails. As well, I've walked 5 national trails in the UK with friends. And I've discovered something interesting during the pandemic. Solo walking works. Oftentimes I will just walk each day in our local area. I walk on the 18th side road to 27. It's not too busy, so it's safe to walk. I walk Happy Valley, which is part of the Oak Ridges Trail, and that's safe to walk by myself, or part of the nature reserves in the area. Well, I walk perhaps approximately 8 kilometers, 8 to 10 kilometers, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. And I always find I feel refreshed when I return home. I can tackle the issues that have to be dealt with in a more calm manner, and I just feel happier. The most amazing moments or altering moments in my life was the birth of our children. Probably every parent or mother at least say this, but it's very true. The birth of your child is an extraordinary, holy miracle. And when you look at the innocent, pure, beautiful, and very fragile infant, you truly see the face of God. That is the Christmas story. Oh, church is people. I think Reverend Bruce Roffey was talking about that last Sunday in the reflection time. And the people of York Pines are part of a large, diverse family. People generally trying to live with integrity and commitment and compassion and constancy. Today, living through a pandemic with all of the social, economic, financial, and personal challenges that brings. Church people find meaning, questions, doubts, inspirations, guidance, and comfort in the ancient stories and poetry, rituals found in the library of books we call the Bible. Perhaps for some of us, the Bible acts as a loose framework around the chaos that life brings. Music is also an important part of church life. Through the years, ordained ministers have contributed that necessary leadership. York Pines has had an interesting, long and winding history, and I didn't really think about this until I started to research this. In the early 1800s, this area of Ontario was very rural. There were farming families with pioneer roots and local service providers. Local people built Methodist churches and other churches to serve the community. Pottageville, Snowball, and Kettleby. In 1925, the United Church of Canada was formed, and all of these three churches, Pottageville, Snowball, and Kettleby, chose to become part of the United Church of Canada. Ordained ministers and music directors leading the services. In 1966, York Pines United Church was built and opened, and the three other churches were closed. In 2016, York Pines United Church celebrated its 50th anniversary. A cookbook was published under the editor, Jamie, and her team. It is truly a celebration of worship, outreach, and good eating. The cookbook contains recipes from present and past members, but it also contains a lot of valuable quotes. One is a grace shared by former minister Ross Carson. For food in a world where many walk in hunger. For faith. Ross Carson was a minister here.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. And he often said this prayer at the at different functions.
Okay.
For food in a world where many walk in hunger, for faith in a world where many walk in fear, for family and friends in a world where many walk alone. We give you grateful thanks, O God. In 2020, York Pines chose to become part of York United Ministries, a collaboration of three churches, New Hope, King City, and York Pines. And York Pine is also part of the wider community of faith with Shining Waters Regional Council and the National United Church of Canada. Today, some on-site services are continuing, but we also have online worship services through YouTube and meetings on Zoom. Amazing adaptations. Thanks to Reverend Andrew Lee and Reverend Bruce Roffey and their wonderful team. Presently, York Pines Community Book Club is experimenting with a Zoom format because of the pandemic, but the book club, I believe, has been operating for about 15 years. It was started by Doreen Wilson, who now lives in Thornhill. Doreen was very active at York Pines with the Accessibility Committee Bible Study Group as well. And the book club has continued during those the past 15 years. The group includes men and women from the community. Books are suggested by and voted on by attendees in the spring. We choose 6 or 7 books per year. Facilitators volunteer to lead the discussion. The discussion is informal. There are no essays, no tests. It's wonderful that way.
Right.
We're just there to learn.
Right.
We've also had guest speakers over the years. Local author Frank Watt, who wrote a book called Heads or Tails, 23 short stories.
Wow. So you are inviting on authors, right? Authors
Yes.
of the books.
Yes,
Oh, great.
when we can.
Right.
When we can get them. A man called Al Pace introduced a book called Canoe Country by Roy McGregor. And Patricia Watson was here to discuss her book, Princes in the Wilderness. So we try to choose a wide range of literature: fiction, nonfiction, humor, biography, autobiography. This month's book has been Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. And November's book is The Wayfinders, and it's Why Ancient Wisdom Matters in the Modern World. Quite appropriate for now. This book is written by Wade Davis, a Canadian anthropologist. As a participant, I find I'm introduced to books I would not choose on my own, and some of them I didn't even know about. And so it helps you to read a lot more widely, and there's no pressure to have even read the book when you come to the book club. It's very informal. One might ask the question, why is church doing a book club? And I think Northrop Frye, the Canadian literature professor and critic, said it very clearly, that, quote, "The Bible is the fertilizer for all of Western literature." That's very appropriate. And to quote another Canadian Aboriginal author, Thomas King, he says, "We are our stories." So that's a little bit about book club.
Great. Can you just introduce appreciation or any kind of happening in the book club? You know, do you know what I'm saying? So recently, one of your members just sent a letter to book club saying that expressing her appreciation,
Yes.
To join there. So
Yes.
would you just tell me about?
Yes. This fall I received a message an email from a person who'd been coming to our book club and participating for a few years, Ruth. And she had moved here, and she thanked the members of the book club because she so appreciated being part of the book club. It made her transition to living in this area just so much easier. So it was very much a letter of an email of appreciation.
Yeah. So does book club open to the public, right?
Yes, we have people from the community who don't necessarily come to church regularly, who have come periodically or more on a regular basis. So it's open to the community. So the email list that goes out includes people from beyond the church family.
Okay.
Milton was a part of the church life in the past.
How long is it? Reverend Fox passed.
I'm not sure when he was here. Yeah. Yes, it is a symbol of York pines, the pine
50s.
trees. And there are Doreen Wilson, Kettleby Kitchen, and then the 50th anniversary group with Eleanor Chambers, Christine Gunter. And this is the original Kettleby Church, and former ministers of York Pines, and the earliest one being
1853. Oh my goodness.
Well, thank you for asking me, Andrew. When you first sent me the email, I wasn't quite sure I could do it. In fact, I basically wanted to bail on the whole thing. But I started writing some things down, and the actual task of writing things down and reflecting on them helped me to understand a little bit more about myself and about what church meant to me and what faith stories meant to me. And so it was helpful and meaningful.